Cause I don't know how fake feel, nigga. Cause all my life I've been a real nigga.
What's good with y'all's face to really? I know what it is. It may sound like it, but there's no malice in my intent. That's real. I have a confession to make. I have severe anxiety and have gone through it for as long as I can remember. As a child, I was told frequently that it was normal by my elders and superiors to get a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach whenever I go to a social event. When I was younger, it would happen almost everywhere I went. I remember the very first time I felt strong anxiety was in the fifth grade when I had to stand up in front of the school to perform a Christmas play. The role was very small, since I only had one line, but it was nerve-wracking to have to wait for my turn. The sweaty feeling, tight throat, queasy stomach, and just feeling completely out of place and nervous engulfed me. And it's a consistent feeling that I go through to this day when dealing with people or in public spaces in general. Hell, I get anxiety off of unsuspecting guests swinging by my house. Thankfully, I was blessed with a distinct poker face. I could be panicking on the inside, but on the outside, I have a straight face. When people speak to me, sometimes I have to force a smile so I don't appear awkward or not friendly. But sometimes that does not work, and I appear that way anyway. All these things make my anxiety worse. And even though I am at an age where I truly do not care if people like me anymore, I still do not want to give them a reason not to. As confusing as all this may sound to you all, there's so many things that go into my mind when I do something small like going to Walmart during the day. How do I get through this? Well, I find it easier to deal with anxiety when I make plans for the future, and there is some kind of structure. For example, when meeting a close relative out to eat at a restaurant, I usually try to go early in the day as opposed to afternoon and evening hours. This is because I realize the more people that are in the building and or area, it can cause my anxiety to skyrocket to a point I'm not enjoying myself. Usually, when I step out to meet somebody, I want to do my best to have a good time. If my anxiety is making me super uncomfortable, then it will come out by how nervous I am eventually. When this happens, I tend to be more quiet and speak only when spoken to as opposed to being a social butterfly with a close relative or consciously attempting to get to know somebody new. So, when things are etched in stone, it makes it a lot easier for me to prepare myself mentally for the worst case scenario. And then I make light of it since it's always ridiculous. For example, when going out to eat, I tend to wonder if people will stare at me all day. Will we get a rude waitress? Will the food be nasty so I have to awkwardly send it back? A drink spilling on me? My car declining randomly? And so much more. Imagining these situations briefly allows me to somewhat troubleshoot my most cumbersome situations in my mind. So, when I actually do go out to eat and nothing bad happens or is happening, it helps soothe my mind to a certain extent with some kind of plan in place. Another way I combat anxiety is to diminish everything I can about my appearance or my demeanor to make sure I do not draw attention to myself. This could be something as simple as showering and or washing up thoroughly to smell good, making sure my hair is lined up properly, making sure I have clean clothes, and just overall making sure my appearance is up to par. Another thing is acknowledging that on bad days it's okay to either stay home or just run in and out of somewhere to decrease the anxiety of someone trying to hold a conversation with you when you're having a bad day but do not want to be rude. I bring your appearance and demeanor up because as long as you take care of yourself, you will notice your anxiety can decrease in all situations. Now, I'm not saying completely disappear, but at least be more tolerable due to more positive interactions. There's a difference when you know you aren't fresh but you see or feel everybody looking at you. That could make you feel bad about yourself, and in turn make your anxiety worse. However, say it's the clear opposite and people are giving you smiles and positive vibes, it can help ease your anxiety because at that point, you should feel more comfortable around people that are clearly comfortable around you. Something else I say to myself to learn how to cope with anxiety is by letting myself know in the moment that I'm not the main character. People are usually doing their own thing, and unless you're doing something to go viral intentionally or accidentally, people aren't going to pay you hardly any mind. Also, if by chance you see someone staring at you, they could be looking past you, like what you got on, may think you look familiar but don't want to approach for whatever reason, or they're just chilling and happen to see you. Most of the time, the woman, man, or child will most likely forget they even saw you, if at all. In mere minutes of you being out of the sight, so try to keep that in mind. Something else I tend to remind myself is that once I get to an establishment, once I get seated at a table or find a seat in general, it helps me not feel that much pressure. Something about walking through a busy club, a crowded restaurant, bar, or even a house can be a major anxiety inducer. Due to this, by chance I meet someone at a crowded restaurant, I just remind myself that once you're seated and a part of the crowd, nobody's gonna really notice you anymore. If by chance they do, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. Either way, this has always been a great example for me when entering crowded areas. It's harder work trying to look as though I'm perfectly calm when my entire body is full of adrenaline in case someone tries to fight me. My ears are perked open in case of any gunshots or turmoil, looking around to see if there's another exit without looking suspicious, nodding towards people that make eye contact with you, etc., etc., etc. All while your throat is tight, you start to really feel hot and your heart starts racing. Most of the time, my poker face has proven to stand the test of time. The final method that I personally use is prayer to my God and Savior Yahweh and His Son Yahshua. Basically, the entities a lot of people in my country call God and Jesus are where my allegiances lie for good or for worse. On more times than I can admit, I have said a prayer out loud in my car on my way into a busy job or a hectic environment in general. There is nothing wrong in trusting in your higher power to protect you. Usually, when I do that, I feel more at ease, but I still have to open myself up to that energy. If you have not done so with your heart and soul, I urge everybody to try it, as it may surprise you with how well it works. I have other methods, like imagining the entire room is naked, but all that managed to do was make me horny. Since it was obvious I was horny, I looked like a used pervert. Since I also knew and understood I looked like a used pervert, my anxiety went through the roof. It took me months for me to return to the restaurant after that, and that was only because I heard they hired new staff. In short, it did nothing but make things worse for me, but I still recommend it since other people have found success with it. So there you have it. I am a grown man with horrible, crippling anxiety. It's a horrible way to live, and I do not recommend it. However, if by chance you do have anxiety, I hope this video helps you weather through learning ways to cope with anxiety relating to me, or just, enjoyed it in general. Do you have anxiety? If so, how do you personally cope with it? Do you have any advice for anybody with anxiety? Oh, almost forgot. If you made it to the end of the video, please drop a like, comment, share it, etc. I really appreciate it. Face signing out.